Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-host, Russell Jackman. Mike McDowd is probably off on assignment. We're not sure yet if he has a chance.
We are going to have a Jacksonville free episode, finally.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, hey, listen, you got to
no
love Mike.
talk about South Florida at all, folks.
I know, but he's really good about getting guests, though. And in fact, I'm going to try to...
Except they're all from South Florida.
I know.
All from South Florida.
I'm going to try to get a guest. There's a guy I know whose son works for the LA Rams, and he kind of handles I think he handles like all the jumbotron, and he's an integral part of all these various aspects of stuff that we would never see behind.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. And at each commercial break, we're going to ask a trivia question. Let me see how hard these questions are. One is sort of you just have to guess. One you should be able to get, and the other one, maybe. We'll see. All right. When we come back, we got to talk about the exciting first week of football that we had. There was some great coaching by the Vikings at the end of the game. We'll talk a little bit about that. Bill Belichick, he's kind of having a little pity party, it seems like. Mississippi State fined $500,000 because the fans stormed the field. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then there's this crazy story of a Philadelphia Phillies fan and a
baseball Karen.
Baseball Karen, exactly. And it had a couple of little twists to it, which is really kind of interesting. So, and I know that Russell has a lot of stuff on his plate that he wants to talk about, and that's going to be our show. So anyways, audience, stay tuned. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We are going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Russell Jackman, and we believe Mike McDowd is off on assignment today. He'll have to tell us what he did when he was on assignment next week. All right, where do you want to start?
I never do.
That's right. I know. We go, where's Russell? I don't know. All right. Let's start off with the first week of football that we had. Definitely some excitement.
Absolutely. First of all, is it not like just popping that zit for America to just finally get the pressure of preseason over with? And it's finally like the pressure just builds up. It's like lava. It's like a volcano. Ready to just explode. And then it finally explodes. I mean, everyone can finally breathe and just say that the first week is over with. And I will give the NFL credit. It put together a lot of good matchups for week one. Last year, like the 49ers' first game was against Pittsburgh. Not that it was that playing against Pittsburgh was a terrible thing, but there's no great rivalry between Pittsburgh and San Francisco.
Not in the same division, that sort of thing. Yeah.
And I got to think, we had Seattle right off the bat. You had the Lions against Green Bay. You had
Cleveland and Cincinnati.
Yeah, you had Dallas against Philly. You had a lot of the
Minnesota and the Bears.
Bills against Baltimore, which is something probably people might talk about for the entire season. But it's a game so big that it might have implications to going to the very final game of the season. To have those two, tussle.
I don't like preseason. It just I don't even watch any of the games. I don't pay any attention to it.
But you need it. You need it because without preseason, it would be the Keystone Cops in game one.
Oh, no, I understand why it exists. I'm just saying, as a fan, it's just kind of like,
the team needs to make choices. 49ers should have decided to cut Jake Moody in the preseason. They had to wait till after game one, and they almost lost game one. And now I have never seen in my life the kind of celebration of a player getting cut as I've seen online. The joy of San Francisco 49er fans to see a player cut, especially one that we got in the third round, as the news that Moody has been cut.
Who's our new kicker? I say our because we're broadcasting here from the San Francisco Bay Area. Who's our new kicker?
We have no idea, which is really saying something about Shanahan and Lynch, that they let themselves get into this position where they had to get rid of somebody without having a clear. I mean, there's the guy Greg Joseph who was there during the preseason. That they cut anyway. And that they didn't even let him fully compete for the job because I think Shannon Lynch didn't want to admit that Moody was a bust.
Last year Moody was really doing terrible, and then they had someone.
He got hurt.
Yeah, but then he just wasn't doing well. But then they had someone else.
They had replacements for about 3 or 4 weeks come in. Then he came back, and after the ankle sprain, he was garbage. And then he misses a kick from the 5-yard line. Okay, that's inexcusable. That's I was making fun. Do you remember Super Toe?
Not my name.
Toy. It was the toy that you would get where you had the little football and you punch the guy in the head and he would kick the ball.
Oh, I didn't know they called it that, but
That was the name of the toy, was Super Toe. And I was like, could we get him to come on to the 49ers? I hear he's a free agent.
The last 20 years or last 10 years, it's amazing how good these field goal kickers have gotten.
Except for the 49ers, because they don't want to spend any money on special teams. That is the unwanted stepchild of the 49er roster is special teams. And last year, the 49ers were 31st in the league in special teams.
You know what? I think that, to me, I would spend, again, I don't know how much field goal kickers are going to cost, but I would get the guy with the obviously most accurate and the biggest leg, because it's amazing how.
Well, that's what they thought they were getting with Moody. That's what they were getting. That's what they thought they were getting with Moody. He kicked a 59-yarder in the preseason. So they just figured, okay, but strength is not accuracy. And that was the thing, I'll age myself. But that was the thing I loved about Ray Wershing. Ray Wershing would not kick a 50-yard field goal. I don't think he ever kicked a field goal.
No, he wasn't a very strong leg, but he's accurate, though.
From 45 in, you could set your watch to it.
You know why? Because he was a CPA, and they're very accurate on their numbers, very accurate on their kicking.
And he was just reliable. He could just make them from 45 in. It was like 95% accuracy. And I'd rather have a guy that if you just knew you were 45 in, and if it was 47, then you punt, but if it's 45. These guys, though, some of them be able to kick 60, 63 yards. Oh, God, now they can. The kicking game has advanced so much. The other thing that was rough about Moody is he wasn't good at kickoffs, and he would kick stuff. Now they have that rule that if you get the touchback, it goes to the 35. So you really are trying to get the ball from the 1-yard line to maybe the 20-yard line.
Speaking of which, the Vikings, what an absolute brilliant call from the coach. If you think about it, these coaches, I know they're supposed to do this anyway, but to have there's a million things going on, right? And to have the foresight to go, okay, we're kind of getting close to the 2-minute warning. We don't want our kicker downing it. We want him running it out to run some extra seconds off the clock, because just in case we get a 3 and out, the Bears won't have enough time. And that's exactly what happened. That was pretty brilliant. And then
you have that, and you have how the Bills were able to come back. I don't know who did a better coaching job. Was it the Bills or was it the Vikings? That's kind of like the both.
Well, this is just one specific play I was thinking of, but
right. But I think the NFL basically high-fived itself after week 1 because the majority of the games were 1-score games.
Yeah,
the wins were 1 score, and you had
great.
You capped it off.
It's very competitive. I like that.
Right, and you capped off the night having everybody watching the Bills-Ravens game and a 41-40 final score. What are you going to? How much more, if you're the NFL, can you be in love with seeing a 41-40 nighttime ender? Because normally the 5 o'clock game is a terrible snoozer, and it's like Indianapolis against Jacksonville. Yes, I'm making fun of Jacksonville. Okay, with Mike not here. Usually it's a matchup of two really blah teams, and they figure, well, it's the Sunday night football game. Everyone's going to watch it anyway, so we might as well put 2 of the crappiest teams together. So because people will still watch it. But instead, and the same thing with the Thursday night game. Thursday night game was phenomenal. Although we got to talk about that maybe after the break. What a weird game that was. I don't know if did you watch the Thursday game?
I was out, so I didn't get a chance to watch it.
Yeah, it was strange from the get-go. It was, with an
But
hour
Monday night
lightning
also.
delay.
But Monday night was a good one too. Okay, you ready? We're going to go to our first commercial break here. Here's our first trivia question. Who was on the first cover of the Rolling Stone magazine? I may have asked this question once before, so we'll see if you remember what the answer is. Who was on the first cover of Rolling Stone? That's our trivia question. All right. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to that question. We'll see who's smart enough to remember, or not smart enough, but has a memory going back, because I don't know how long ago that was. But it's got to be. Well, I'll give you a hint. It's more than 45 years ago. Okay. So that's our trivia question. Who was on the first cover of the Rolling Stone magazine, which I think Dr. Hook in the Medicine Show on the cover.
Yeah, that was the first. But I think, the Rolling Stones.
That's what I think of. Okay. Stay with us. You're listening to the Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Russell Jackman. Our first trivia question: who was on the first cover of Rolling Stone magazine?
Well, it would make sense if it were the Rolling Stones.
But it wasn't, though.
Then my other guess would be the Beatles.
I'd say yes, but you have to be a little bit more specific.
John Lennon?
Yeah.
Okay.
John Lennon was on the cover. That's why I said it's got to be 25 years ago.
Second guess, I'll take credit for it.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
did you hear about the Raj Jackson story?
No.
Rampage's son going into the wrestling ring with a wrestler, and beating the tar out of him.
I think I saw something on ESPN on that.
Yeah, that's just.
Go ahead.
Well, that dojo where he went to, where he beat the guy up. I know the guys that ran that. So unfortunately, that were running the gym that the guy got beat up in.
So wait a minute, this was not the thing that we saw on TV. Oh, okay, because that seemed a little scripted. I'm thinking of something else. So okay, go into more depth. What happened?
Well, this guy Raj Jackson was supposedly part of this wrestling event that was going on in this place called Knox Pro, which is a school that is taught by it's here in Northern California. It's taught by this guy who used to be known as Rikishi, Rikishi Fatu, who's part of the whole big Samoan family. That includes like the Rock is related to that and so forth. This guy Rampage Jackson, you remember him, right? MMA guy. Okay, he was in the A-Team remake that they did. He played the Mr. T character.
Oh, okay.
But he's also been an MMA guy for a long time. Okay. And his son was going to be part of this whole thing. And apparently they had like some issue going on backstage, and then when they came out, he just absolutely, he came into the ring when he wasn't supposed to and just threw the guy down and then just started just pounding him when he was unconscious. He was still punching him. And another wrestler came in and pulled Raj Jackson off of him. And there was a good chance. I mean, the guy said that he thought that if he continued, he would have killed him. Raj would have killed this guy.
Wow. So you don't know the backstory of why he did it? No,
that part's all been very hard to fathom. And the most fascinating part is there have been no charges filed.
I was just going to ask you, is there going to be any criminal charges?
Not so far. So far, it's just been swept totally under the rug, and it's mainly because Raj is Rampage's son, and I'm sure Rampage, made some phone calls.
I thought nobody
And
was above the law. That's what
but
you always thought.
but the other end result was that Knox Pro, which was a school that was considered a feeder school to the WWE, lost all their credentials with the WWE, and now the WWE doesn't want to have anything to do with them. They are like the personas non grata.
So
Yeah,
that's a
so
big ripple effect.
it's going to be a huge
Oh my
effect
God.
on them. But
Gosh.
I
Are
thought
they
maybe that
getting
story
blamed?
might have.
Well, no, are they getting blamed because they didn't have security? Like why? Like how did it?
No, I mean, Raj just was able to just do what he wants because he's a semi-celebrity, and they just let him walk right in there because everyone knew who he was, and they didn't think he would go do that. And apparently, he has like a pit bull switch in his head, or even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, my pit bull wouldn't do anything like that. He's got there have been some Doberman. There's a Doberman attack. Maybe I'll compare him to Doberman. But yeah, that's at least the big story in professional wrestling this week. So I'll bring that forward.
What's the status of the guy who got the?
He's in the hospital. He was in like intensive care. I mean, he was like out for like 2 days. He came out of he came conscious in like 2 days. He's like missing teeth and like a broken jaw and all this other stuff. Yeah, and I was talking to another martial artist in my Wrestling and Everything Coast to Coast program, and we both discussed that when you're a martial artist, there's the second part of that, and that's artist. Okay, which means that if you know somebody is down, they are defenseless. You can't keep attacking them. You have to be able to, and this relates to football, because on the Thursday night game, I don't know if you know about this, but after the very first play, the defenseman from the Eagles walks up to Dak Prescott with everybody watching. The entire world is watching this.
It's not spits on him.
Yeah, and spits right in his face.
I know.
What that happened with.
What an idiot! I was actually going to bring that up a little later on, but what an idiot! It's like he's been playing preseason, he's practicing all this time. The first play, and that's what he does, and he gets kicked out of the game, and who knows what other kind of disciplinary action.
He's very lucky the Eagles didn't need him to beat Dallas. Unfortunately, Dallas is crappy enough that they were able to beat themselves, and the Eagles won anyway. But if they hadn't won, especially if the defense had played really poorly, he would be absolutely, and Philly fans, they're not exactly much forgiving.
What's the fallout? Like, what's the fine?
Philly won, so I don't care. They just, you'll probably get fined something that you can afford, and that'll be it. No suspension or anything like that.
Okay, so going back to the martial artist guy, are they like boxers from the standpoint of theoretically they're supposed to register their hands as lethal weapons?
No, and nobody registers their hands as
well, I don't know if they have to technically register, but it's like considered. No, wow, because it
is and it isn't. I mean, you have somebody defenseless, and you're punching them. That is an assault. Yep. That's and I mean could even be considered. They were thinking that there could even be murder charges brought because this guy went into the ring already angry and ready to cause severe bodily harm to this guy.
Well, it still may happen. Right? I don't know how much time they give.
Yes, but I don't know how long it's going to take for them to issue to arrest somebody. I mean, what are you going to wait, like a month? I mean, it was all on camera. Everyone saw it. The arrest should have happened immediately. So
and it was unprovoked, right? Because
it was supposed to be a prearranged thing. It was supposed to be, just like a quick sort of thing where he would come in and just like hit the guy once and then leave.
Well, do we know that wasn't scripted? Do you know for sure?
Not to put him in the hospital, it wasn't. Not to put him in, but that's why Knox Pro is under a lot of heat. Is that that they should have made sure that if he was going to come into the ring, that he was going to do exactly that, and then maybe they should have talked to him before he went into the ring. And if he's frothing at the mouth and biting the drywall, maybe you don't let him go out there yet.
And you don't know of any animosity between the two?
There was
Was?
animosity between the two guys. So, but
Wow.
I'm still quite confused what happened to make Raj that angry that he wanted to kill the guy. But I think there's some problems with Raj and the connections that go upstairs. And I think
Yeah.
he's just one of those people that really can control himself. So a guy like that, you don't want in the ring, either
No,
as
that's
an
a
MMA or as a pro wrestler. You don't want him in there.
So going just by something I teased about before we had gone to break. So Mississippi State was fined 500,000 from the SEC for fans storming the field after doing an upset win over Arizona State. And I'm thinking, is that fair? Because how are you supposed to control people who aren't your employees? I mean, they're just fans. Obviously, it was an upset win and they get all excited, but how do you fine them for 500,000? Even if you have a lot of security and police, that's not going to stop 10,000 fans or whatever it
What you
was.
do is you get picture. AI will allow you to take pictures of every one of those fans, everyone that got on the field.
Well, okay, so that's different to say, okay, we're going to go after these people, arrest them for
Yeah,
doing what they do. But
that's instead
how
of
do you
finding them,
find?
I take that $500,000 and use it to arrest every single one of those fans and give them lifetime bans so
Yeah.
they cannot go and watch
But
a
is that
game
fair?
at that
Is it
stadium.
fair to find Mississippi State? If you're Mississippi State and you're excited about the fact that your team upset Arizona State, I mean, you obviously don't want those fans going on the
Well,
field.
you know what?
If
If suddenly they say we can't run the football program, we have to cancel our games for this year because we're $500,000 short now, $500,000 short, then that's a decent punishment for
I know, but why even punish why punish the school for what fans did because you can't control them? Tell you what, let's go to our second
fans
trivia.
were part of the school.
Yeah, that's tough because who knows? They could have been other fans. But anyway, okay. Here's a little bit. Here's an English question. What letter do most English words begin with? So basically, I guess it's like what's the most popular letter in the English language from that standpoint? What letter do most English words begin with? All right. That's our trivia question. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back.
Chance. And it's probably not Z.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. That was Russell Jackman you heard when he was supposed to be quiet because we have 5 seconds of silence, but that's okay. All right. I'm Edward Brown. That's Russell Jackman. Second trivia question. What letter do most English words begin with?
I will say, God, that's a hard one. T.
Come on.
T.
You're close.
S.
S. Yeah. I would have guessed, yeah, T. I would have guessed that. Okay, so now we're going to talk. So Bill Belichick used to be, he was a legend with the Patriots.
I want to just really quickly hit the last subject, and then we can move on. And that is, if a $500,000 fine keeps the season, it ruins their season, keeps them from being able to put on a season, or they have to, end the season or whatever. Next year, when people want to go crazy, other folks will go, do you remember that season we lost? Because we all rioted. And when there was a chance to riot.
What about the players, though? The players this year, they do a great job of
you know what? The players then have to look at the fans and say, do you want to ruin our season? I mean, the pressure to stop this has to come from within. Yeah. Fans themselves have to know to behave.
No, listen, I liked what you said before. Get AI to figure out who these people are, fine them $500,000 each, and ban them for life. That I think is a good deterrent. I just think it's unfair to punish the school for something other people do, and the football team. And then, by the way, where's that $500,000 go?
Back to the
And but the SEC to do what? To give these guys more Rolls Royces who will
Well,
run it?
here's the thing: is that this is what I would do. Take that $500,000, give it to the SEC to run the AI to then arrest the people that were, use that cost, the $500,000 to defray the cost to go after the people that caused this riot, and make them publicly humiliate them, much like baseball Karen, which we do need to get.
That's my next subject. Actually, just really quickly before that, Bill Belichick, he's not allowing Patriots scouts to visit UNC apparently, and because he's got a chip on his shoulder.
If you're a Patriots scout, why do you want to go to UNC? They're not going to be.
That's a good question. UNC is not a good college for football. For basketball, yeah, but for football,
it was a big mistake for him to go there anyway. And I think he did it because he wanted to be king of the hill again and wanted to be the big man on campus. And he has that crazy young girlfriend, which, he can do anything he wants. But let's face it, that's just strange. That relationship is just strange. And
she's like in her 30s or something, or 20s.
Yeah, and but she controls everything. She is apparently his handler now. And Bill should just have gone out as one of the greatest coaches in the history of the NFL. That to me is a great legacy, and you can just rest on that laurel. What's wrong with that? You've got 7 Super Bowl titles, to your name, or whatever. So just do that. If you turn around and then go back to college, first of all, we've often seen that the transition from pro to college doesn't always work, or college to pro doesn't always work. I mean, Harbaugh worked, but for a lot of other guys, the college world is just so different than the pro world, and it's not just what happens on the field; it's what happens off the field, and the fact that you're the entire, when you're a pro coach and you're like Belichick was for New England, you do have New England paying attention to you. But Boston has lots of things going on. Yeah. When you're the head coach at UNC, you're it. I mean, until basketball season, you're everything. People have nothing else to pay attention to. I've been to North Carolina. There isn't anything to pay attention to other than
my son lives close to the campus.
So there you go. They're really into it. Yeah. And so I don't think Belichick was prepared for that kind of microscopic, he always had Tom Brady to kind of shovel things onto when people really and Gronkowski to always say, here, pay attention to these guys. I'm the man behind the curtain. But now there's nobody else. Who knows anybody at UNC? Can you name one player on UNC? No. I can't. So
and Bill's not really good. He's not really good in front of the camera either. He's just...
No, but he is the team. Yeah, he's he wanted this, and now he's got it, and now he's like, oh my god, I don't realize how difficult it is.
But I guess he's got this chip on his shoulder because he doesn't want the Patriots, But which and I was thinking the same thing.
And he's still mad that Tom Brady
want to go there anyway.
Yeah, he's still mad that Tom Brady won a Super Bowl without him, and that everyone's, and then the Patriots sucked without Tom Brady, so that everyone said, Brady was the real reason that Belichick was successful, and that has created. That's why he went back to UNC, because he's like, I want total control of the school, and I want to make them a champion, like Harbaugh did, and then everybody will say what a super genius I am.
But it's different having Michigan versus UNC for football. So if Harbaugh had a big advantage. All right, let's talk about Phillies Karen. So
baseball Karen.
So for those who are not familiar with the story, he had a situation where there was a home run.
Joey Bart, by the way.
Who?
Is she married to Joey Bart, by the way?
Are you not thinking of Steve Bartman?
No, Steve Bartman. Steve Bartman, yeah. No, Steve Bartman, by the way. They should hook up.
They should hook up. Okay. So this woman basically, if you watch the video, it looks like she's just waiting for the home run ball to come to her, and this guy comes from probably what 10 seats away, because everyone likes to try to go for a ball, and there's a lot of space between them. So he runs over and he ends up getting the ball, goes back to his seat where he gives it to his son who's celebrating his 10th birthday. Well, this lady goes ahead. She is irate, and she's basically yelling at him, "That's my ball! You got to give it to me!" Blah 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 blah. And she's berating this guy. And this guy kind of gives in. He just wanted her to go away, apparently. And he gives her the ball. And his son obviously is upset and all that. And so you kind of think, okay, well, that's the story. But then what ends up happening is I can't remember who the guy was who actually hit the home run. He finds out about the story. He invites the kid back to, I guess, the whatever, the locker room, whatever, gives him a signed bat, probably another ball, right? And Marcus Lemonis, who is he used to had a show, The Prophet, ends up like giving, hearing about the story too, gives something like he's going to invite the kid and his family to the World Series, and something about an RV, like give him an RV. But it doesn't just end there. What ends up happening is baseball Karen, she's got that ball. She's being offered $5,000 for the ball if she'll sign it with an "I'm sorry" inscription. Can you believe it? So I mean, the problem with all this stuff, you could imagine people planning something like. I'm sure this one wasn't planned, but can you imagine someone planning something like that just for that sort of thing? Go ahead.
Sure, could stage it. Now you realize she did get a lifetime ban from the Philly Stadium.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was just announced. The president
Wow.
of baseball operations for the Phillies said she's no longer, and that is something I think Major League Sports needs to, and college sports needs to start doing. They need to start, and you know what? I'm fine for concerts doing that too. Anyone that rushes the stage in a concert, anybody that starts a fight in a concert, anyone that or a football game or anything like that, baseball game. The Giants have had 2 games this year where fans reached into the play, either interfered with a ball that was going out, or reached onto the field and got them ejected. Anyone that sits in the front row of anything should have to sign something before they sit in the front row saying, "I will not be an idiot and I will not interfere in the game."
I gotta say that I understand that, starting fights, and apparently, and like this Karen lady was very aggressive with, and so you shouldn't be aggressive with other people and starting fight. All that stuff, I get that. The thing is, when a foul ball is hit, or you think it's a foul ball, I could see a tendency to not think as the ball's in the air, this may be a situation where I shouldn't reach for the ball because I might reach over, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's kind of almost.
Edward, sit in the 4th row.
Yeah, don't worry. I never.
That's no problem for you. If that's a problem for you to process that, sit near the back and it won't be a problem. If you have the privilege of sitting in the front row of something, sit the hell down. Wait for the play to end. Wait for it to end. And do not
me. I
make
didn't
you
do
a
it.
bigger than the game itself because you have a front row seat. I have to look at your punk face, okay, for the whole darn game. All right? And you're living it in front of everybody that you were able to get this front row seat. Keep your hands to yourself. Wait for the play to end. Wait.
No one's trying to show off.
It infuriates me to the highest degree.
As a fan watching TV, you sort of, it's easy to kind of go, hey, don't interfere, let it, especially like that guy, that poor Steve Bartman, he reached over and all this kind of stuff, and that guy had death threats. He had to move.
Or if it's a problem, if you think that you can't control yourself, don't buy a front row seat.
Who thinks of that, though?
You remember there was that guy at the Giants game who, habitually has interfered. It was earlier this season.
Okay, well,
There's
habitually is different. I mean,
Yeah,
if you're
he's
there,
like done it in like 5 games, and in like 4 of the games that he's done it, he's helped his team to win. I forgot which. I think it was with the
wait, no,
Phillies.
don't they throw you out of the they throw you out if you
Yes,
interfere. But
yeah.
they don't ban you
No, but
for
they didn't want to, and then the pressure came on him to do something about it. But it's just it it's the thing that people feel that because they have a front row seat, they can do anything they want,
yeah.
and
Oh, I don't know about
they
that. I think
have a
it's
privilege
I
that
don't I
everybody
don't know
else
if
doesn't have.
somebody thinks, okay, I got a front row seat, so I'm going to purposely interfere with the game. I think it's just the natural thing. A ball comes, you want, people want to get a foul ball. It's just exciting.
I'm gonna send you a clip from that guy. I forgot
Yeah, we can
where
do
he
that.
was, but this guy was proud of being able to interfere with
Well,
games
okay,
and
that's different.
team winning.
That's and especially if it's happened 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
That's
and then
that's
the
completely different.
management keeps allowing him to buy front row seats so he can interfere.
Okay, so then, yeah, I agree with you. Then that's a problem. But you think of like Jeffrey Mayer. Remember how was it Bobby Bonilla couldn't get for the Orioles, and he took a home. He did what they said it was a home run. It wasn't. He would have been able to get it off the wall or catch it, or whatever. Or actually, Bonilla would have been able to catch it. But again, a little kid like that, it's just natural to just kind of
It's a little different when it's a kid, okay? But these are all adults we're talking about here.
But they're in a
Adults,
baseball game, and baseball is a kid's game.
it doesn't matter. It's not a kid's game. I mean, you're
Okay.
talking about someone selling a baseball for $5,000. That's
I
not
know.
a kid's game anymore.
Ah,
That's
good.
that's a business.
Think about that. Okay, here is our third trivia question. What's the estimated population of ants globally?
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, start counting them. 1, 2,
Yeah,
3.
exactly.
All right, audience, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We are going to be right back with some closing comments. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman. I guess Mike was on assignment. He didn't make it today. All right, what's the estimated population of ants globally? What do you think?
I know that most of them show up whenever I have a picnic. I will say 10 trillion.
No, you ready for this? 20 quadrillion. So
20
you'd have to 20
quadrillion.
quadrillion. That's staggering
Missed it
number.
by that much.
I know. Yeah, you missed by that much. Missed it by that much. That staggering number translates to approximately 2.5 million ants for every human on Earth, and
Wow.
represents a combined dry carbon weight of about 12 megatons, exceeding the total biomass of all wild birds and mammals combined. Isn't that amazing? 20
That doesn't
quad-
even include Adamant, the singer.
doesn't include Adamant. You are correct. That doesn't include it. Okay. All right. You ready for our silly joke of the week here? Here we go. So my
Like I have
mom is
been cracking them all show long. Okay.
of course, I've been telling us. Okay, so my mom is not up on sports. She thought Dunkin' Donuts was a basketball team, and a Giants fan, a Giants fan, a Padres fan, and a Dodger fan are climbing a mountain, arguing about who loves their team more. Padre fan insists he's the most loyal. This is for San Diego, and he yells and jumps off the side of the mountain. Not to be outdone, the Giants fan is next to profess his love for his
This is
team.
for San
He yells,
Francisco, and he throws the Dodger fan off.
"Hey, this is for San Francisco," and he pushes the Dodger fan off the mountain.
That's
You
also
know,
like on a plane. That's also
like on a plane, exactly. Okay, now we got our thoughts for the day. So one advantage of talking to yourself is that you know at least somebody's listening.
yeah, about
Right.
half the time.
About half the time. Okay. And if 2 wrongs don't make a right, try 3.
That's from Deteriorata from the National Lampoon.
Is that right? Okay. Well,
yes.
we'll give them credit. We'll
Don't
give them
forget.
credit. All right.
Yeah,
Audience.
don't forget.
Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Adios.